rush. And now we go and bridge into the next game where we got the Buffs and the Cougs. The Cougs come off a really good rivalry game, beating the Rice Oils, and that was their rivalry because those two schools are the closest schools in terms of distance in the entire FBS nation. So it brings a lot of history. I think it was their 44th anniversary playing that game, and I even heard it was their last one. That would be kind of sad, but that's cool, right? You come off a good morale win, and now this Houston team is getting a lot of buy-in. So the quarterback for Houston, Connor Weigman, previously the QB1 out of Texas A&M, losing his starting position to Marcel Reed. Connor Weigman looks like he has a lot to prove. This Houston team still looks primed to have an amazing front seven. They were well known for their defense last year. They had a few departures, really good departures in AJ Halchi going over. But my whole thing is, I still think this identity is thick and thin, riding with this team, and I like them. I really do like Houston. But we are hosting a Caden Slater, Colorado team that really, they played well. They just came up short against a situational game to Georgia Tech, right? Georgia Tech had their blueprint and they were able to deliver it. And that blueprint basically entailed dominating time of possession, running the game down and running the clock and keeping the ball out of the skilled players' hands for Colorado's sake. So Caden Slater is an interesting guy because I feel like the buy-in is there, but it's more in-house, right? Like, I feel like they've intentionally gate-kept Caden Slater. They've kept him in the shell of himself. Even the first game, they wanted him to play more conservatively. And this guy still has something in him. I think he's a top 3 quarterback. I think he could be third. I really do in the Big 12. But I have to see some more. But I think he's being gate-kept right now. I think in-house they do believe how good he is. And that's why they might just go into Houston full guns ablazing, ready to go, right? Back in Folsom Field, they had that Georgia Tech game, and it was a really cool atmosphere. And even in their game against Delaware, a really cool atmosphere, okay? They're coming off of 2 games where they put proof to paper, and they proved to themselves who they can be. But now it's about Coach Sanders' accountability and seeing what the best version of themselves can become, right? They know who they are now. They know their identity. They have a really good D-line. I absolutely love their D-line. McNeil is one of my favorite D-linemen right now. They have a good secondary. They've proven that they can stop the pass or at least keep an offense one-dimensional. Now it's about proving to themselves that the best version of Colorado is a top 25 team. So this game is important because if Colorado does lose to Houston, I would say it goes downhill. They're looking at 5 losses this year. But if they beat Houston, you can start to see this team potentially going 9-3 as a ceiling. If they beat Houston this week, they have a ceiling of 9-3. Okay? Right now, I'm not primed to make their floor. I'm not primed to make what their expectation is right now. There's no happy medium with Colorado. They put a really rinky-dinky game plan going on for week 2. It looked a little messy. They were saying that the QB3 looked better than Juju and Caden Slater. That's just a component of a QB3 always going in cold, having that familiarity, just throwing the rock after he sees some of the game and sees some of the situations at hand. So I think that's just a situational progression from the QB3. Again, this team is only going as far as Caden Slater. This is not Juju Lewis's team this year. That's maybe more towards next year, or if they get some injuries and maybe the season falls out of their hands. But really, Caden Slater, this is on you. You have to bring this team over the hump. I really like your wide receivers. You have no excuse. I like your guys' scheme. You guys are calling good calls. It's not really a predictable offense like last year. So my whole thing is, what are you guys going to do on Friday in Houston after this team is fully bought in to the program's direction, to the post game after beating Rice, Connor Weigman buy-in. This is a different team, and I feel like Houston finally has a belief going on because when have they had a good quarterback? It's been nothing but option quarterbacks for the last 5 years. Them coming from American to Big 12 has been a rude awakening because they have been the worst team in the Big 12 the last 2 years. So my whole thing is, where are you going to see this game turn into, or how will it turn out? And I like the Buffaloes coming out of this one. This is a Deion Sanders classic. He's going to get out of Houston, get out of East Texas. And I don't even like Houston anyways. I'm from Dallas. I'm a DFW guy. So I really like Deion Sanders pulling this one out. And again, these are just two amazing matchups, and I think these are detrimental to the progression of these team seasons. If U of A beats Kansas State, do they immediately get a ceiling of 9-3? Maybe. I mean, the ASU side of me sees this team 8-4 is the best it gets. But I hate to be like that. But yeah, y'all not touching 8-4 even then. But I will say, if they do beat Kansas State, you can't really deny it. That's a lot of momentum, and I would start to teeter towards buying in. But again, Brent Brennan, the accountability that he holds his team to, the stature of this football program, I don't think there's a lot going for this Arizona Wildcats team to get into that upper echelon of the Big 12. We're talking a middleman U of A team, unfortunately. Now, my next thing is, I just want to allude to the rest of this season. These two games are the only interesting games in the Big 12. I would only want to add West Virginia having their backyard brawl against Pittsburgh. That's a pretty good game, but West Virginia just put on tape. They couldn't beat Parker Navarro and the Ohio Bobcats. So maybe Rich Rodriguez is in for a rude awakening, but we will provide a season in preview about the West Virginia Mountaineers a little later. I think that's primed for a Thursday viewing, but more importantly, just wanted to put the spotlight on these two Friday Night Lights games. These are amazing marquee matchups, and again, I cannot wait to see how this translates for each season. So all in all, Avery Johnson, Noah Fafita, Connor Weigman, Caden Slater. We have four amazing quarterbacks who will prove to me, to Giovanni, that they deserve to be upper echelon quarterbacks in the Big 12. Look, if you make the top four, you're upper echelon, right? You got 16 quarterbacks to compete with. Right now, just off the jump, I like Levitt. I really like Levitt. Off the jump. I'm trying to think. I'm not putting Rocco. I'm not putting Bayern. I probably would put Josh Hoover. Josh Hoover is up there. I want to put Avery Johnson, but he needs to win. He needs to win on Friday. I give him Army. Army's a situational loss, and I give him Iowa State. It's a Croke Park disaster, right? So Avery Johnson keeps himself composed. I think that this is the game where he does redefine his candidacy for being an upper echelon Big 12 quarterback. And then I really do like Caden Slater. I do. I like him a lot. I see the potential. It's just more about playing complementary football for Colorado and getting him in a rhythm, right? Giving him a favorable game plan in the first half, getting him in a rhythm, and then getting your skill players going. Keeping Caden Slater the head of the car at this point, right? Like, he is the face. You have to give him that confidence, and you have to give him that fuel. And so without any of that, without any of the complimentary football, Caden Slater is only as good as his Liberty self. And even then, it's you're playing for Liberty, so you're playing lesser opponents. So we're going to see a lot on Friday. I'm very excited. But again, this is another Big 12 breakdown video presented by Travanci, hosted by the 480. And I will see you for some more Big 12 ball this year, all right? So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your guys' time.